All right, let's dive into some serious motivation today.
Sounds good.
We love digging into actionable advice here, so we're breaking down a Denzel Washington motivational video.
Okay.
Not just for the good vibes, but to see what we can actually use in our own lives.
Yeah, I think that's important, right? Not just to feel good, but to actually, do something with it.
Totally. So this video, it all starts with those I am statements.
Like what kind of statements?
Things like, I am the best, or I can do anything.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that kind of thing before.
Me too.
Yeah.
And honestly, sometimes it feels a bit much.
Yeah.
Like, is this really going to work?
Well, it's interesting because the video really leans into that boldness, but
Okay.
it's not about comparing yourself to others, like being better than everyone else.
Right.
It's about that potential you have inside, that spark to achieve great things.
Okay, I see
It's
that.
like how athletes use visualization. They're training their minds to be successful.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're repeatedly saying these things to themselves, affirming their abilities.
So I can see how that shift in mindset could be powerful, but like, for someone who's struggling with self-esteem,
Right.
wouldn't I am the best feel kind of, I don't know, fake?
Totally. And that's a great point. It's not about just repeating phrases blindly. You have to believe it.
Yeah.
It's about figuring out those areas where you genuinely excel, where you've had success in the past.
Oh, I see.
Like maybe you're amazing at problem solving at work, or you're a great friend.
Yeah.
Think about those times you felt truly confident and capable.
Yeah.
Those moments are like the foundation for your I am the best statement.
I like that, building on your strengths.
Right, even if you're still working on other areas.
So it's almost like you're reframing things, shifting your focus.
Exactly.
Okay, so what else does this video talk about?
Well, next it goes into visualizing a bright future, even when things are tough.
That reminds me of goal setting. Like, if you don't have a vision of where you want to go, it's easy to get lost along the way.
Totally. And the video gives this tip: start each day by saying, "My future is bright."
Simple. But I could see how that could add up over time.
Yeah, like consistently setting that positive tone for the day.
I'm all about those small, consistent actions.
Me too. It's not about some huge overnight change. It's those little habits that shift your thinking.
Absolutely. So consistent action, does the video talk about that?
It does. It actually goes into embracing growth and hard work, saying progress is more important than perfection.
I think that's where a lot of people struggle, aiming for this perfect ideal and then getting discouraged.
Totally. And that's where that growth mindset comes in.
What is a growth mindset?
It's the idea that our abilities aren't fixed, but we can develop them through dedication and effort.
Okay, so instead of beating myself up for not being perfect,
Yeah,
I should be focusing on learning and growing with each experience.
exactly. It's about celebrating those little wins and seeing setbacks as opportunities.
Okay, I like that.
And the video even gives you a mantra for this: I am getting better each day.
I am getting better each day. I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's powerful.
I often struggle with feeling like I'm not moving forward quickly enough. Like, I focus on the end goal
Yeah.
and I get overwhelmed by how far away it still feels. But focusing on daily improvement,
Right.
that's resonating with me, like shifting from the destination to the journey itself.
Exactly. And that's where the video's emphasis on discipline and hard work comes in.
Okay.
It's acknowledging that growth requires effort and perseverance, pushing through those uncomfortable moments.
Ugh, my inner procrastinator's not liking this. But I guess it's not about pretending personal growth is easy.
No, it takes dedication, and that's why the video's stance against excuses is so important.
Okay, yeah, no excuses. I like that.
It's about taking ownership of our actions instead of getting trapped in justifications.
Right. No more blame game. It's about stepping up. But how do we actually identify those deeper reasons for making excuses?
That's a great question, and that's where self-awareness is really important.
Okay.
It's about honestly reflecting on those times you're tempted to make an excuse. What's the root cause? Is it fear of failure, fear of what people will think? Or maybe you just don't believe in yourself enough.
Oh, okay.
Once you figure that out, you can start to develop strategies to overcome it.
So it's like being a detective, uncovering the clues to your own self-sabotage.
Yes. It's the first step to breaking free.
I like that, breaking free.
And once we start breaking down those barriers, we can tap into that potential the video reminds us we all have.
Right, that's where the I was born to do great things comes in.
Yep.
But is it really about achieving some big, externally defined version of greatness?
That's a great question. It's about defining what greatness means to you.
Okay.
It's not about fitting into society's expectations or chasing validation from others.
Right.
It's about aligning with your own talents and passions, those things that make you feel alive.
Finding that sweet spot
Exactly. When you connect with your purpose, your actions have more meaning.
I love that it's less about cheesy affirmations and more like a guide for self-discovery.
Right.
But I'm sure some people will be skeptical about this greatness idea. So
Yeah.
how does the video address that?
Well, it goes on to say, people's opinions don't affect me.
Oh, interesting.
It's about recognizing that other people's judgments are often more about them than about us.
Hmm.
And it's about cultivating that inner strength and self-belief to stay true to yourself.
That feels especially relevant today with all the messages we're bombarded with.
From social media, yeah.
Exactly. It's easy to get caught up in what others think.
It is, and that's why it's so important to develop your own inner compass, knowing what's true for you.
Okay, so not dismissing all feedback,
Right.
but filtering out the negativity and trusting your own instincts, even if they're different.
Exactly. And that ties into the video's final message about recognizing the preciousness of life.
Yeah, that one really hits home, especially as we're wrapping up the year.
It's about appreciating the small moments, being grateful, and living each day intentionally.
But it's so easy to get swept up in the busyness and forget to savor those moments. How do we actually do that?
That's a great question. It starts with slowing down and paying attention.
Okay.
Notice the beauty in everyday things, the warmth of the sun, the sound of laughter.
It's just being present.
Yes. Shifting your focus from what's missing to what you have to be grateful for.
Retraining your brain to notice the good.
Exactly. And I think this connects to the overall message of the video.
Oh, how so?
It's about recognizing the power we have to create a more meaningful life.
Okay.
It's not about waiting for things to happen, but actively shaping our experiences through our thoughts, beliefs, and actions.
I love that it's not about robotic affirmations, but using them to jumpstart self-reflection and action
Right. It's about embracing the journey of personal growth.
with all the ups and downs.
Yes, trusting we can create a life that reflects our values.
Okay, wow, that's great. I think we need to take a break. Before we go any further, this is a lot to take in.
Agreed.
We'll be back in a few minutes to continue our deep dive.
As we were talking about appreciating life,
Yeah,
it reminded me of something important about these affirmations.
what's that?
Well, we've been unpacking these powerful statements, but it's not like saying them makes everything perfect.
Right, it's not magic.
Exactly. It's about what you do with them.
There's got to be action behind the words.
Yeah, think about it. If you're saying, I'm the best, but you're full of self-doubt and procrastinating, you're sending mixed signals to your brain.
Like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake.
Exactly. You've got to align your actions with those beliefs you're affirming.
So walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
Right. And that might mean stepping outside your comfort zone, facing fears, putting in the work.
And that's where the discipline and hard work come in.
Yes. It's acknowledging that growth takes effort. There's no shortcuts.
Okay, so those tough moments, those obstacles,
Y-
they're not signs we're doing something wrong.
No, they're actually opportunities to build resilience and learn.
So we should welcome those challenges.
In a way, yes, because that's how we grow.
And remember that I am getting better each day.
That's a good one for those tough times.
It helps us shift our focus, right? From feeling overwhelmed to appreciating the progress.
Yes. It's about celebrating those small victories.
And they keep us going, right? Like even when it's hard, we keep visualizing that bright future.
It's like your North Star guiding you.
You might hit some storms, but
Oh.
you know you're headed in the right direction.
And those challenges are leading you to something greater.
Like the journey is as important as the destination.
Exactly. With twists and turns and moments you might feel lost.
And that's where people's opinions don't affect me comes in,
Because it's easy to get caught up in what others think.
especially when we're facing doubt.
But other people's opinions are just that, opinions.
Right? They don't define us.
Exactly. It's not about ignoring all feedback, but learning to filter out negativity.
And trusting yourself.
Yes. Even when it's hard.
And that connects to the video's message about living a precious life.
Appreciating each moment and making choices that align with your values.
It's all part of the tapestry of your life.
Those experiences shape who you are.
So we've talked about these ideas, but how do we put them into practice?
That's where the rubber meets the road.
It's one thing to talk about it, another to actually do it.
Right. There are a few key strategies that can help.
Okay, like what?
First, pay attention to your language.
You mean the words we use?
Yes.
Mm.
They have a huge impact on our thoughts and behaviors.
So if we're always putting ourselves down,
We're just reinforcing those negative beliefs.
like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Exactly. But if you shift your language to be more positive,
Okay?
you can start to rewire your thinking.
Instead of saying, I can't.
You say, I'm going to figure this out.
Frame it as a challenge.
Yes, and celebrate those successes, even the small ones.
Because they build momentum.
Right. So, being mindful of our language is the first step.
Okay, what's next?
Create a supportive environment for yourself.
You mean surrounding ourselves with positive people?
Yes. But also creating physical spaces that inspire you.
Like decluttering your desk.
Or making a vision board, or just being in nature.
Setting ourselves up for success.
Exactly. And that brings us to the third and maybe most important step.
Okay, tell me.
It's taking action.
Putting those affirmations into practice.
Yes. Making choices that reflect your beliefs, doing the work.
Because without action, words are meaningless.
It's the action that gives them power.
And that creates the change.
So don't just think positive thoughts. Do the things that make them real.
Start small, be patient.
Change takes time.
But it does happen, one step at a time.
And each step gets you closer to that vision you have.
And that vision keeps us motivated.
Even when it's tough.
Because we know we're working towards something meaningful.
Something that truly matters to you.
That's a powerful feeling.
It changes your whole perspective.
When you believe you can shape your own destiny.
You open yourself up to endless possibilities.
And that's what this video is all about.
Empowering ourselves to live our best lives.
To reach our potential.
And make a difference in the world.
And for our listeners who are feeling inspired,
yes,
I want to remind you about Angie's Self-Development and Motivation podcast.
A great resource for anyone on this journey.
Check out her website at https://angieselfdevelopmentandmotivationpodcast.buzzsprout.com.
You'll find podcasts, articles, so much more.
It's a great way to dive deeper into these ideas.
Okay, so we've talked about taking action and creating change.
Yeah.
But change can be hard.
Right? It's not always easy to break out of our routines.
That's where resistance comes in.
Resistance. What's that?
It's that force that pushes back against our growth. It's that voice saying, stay safe, stick with what you know.
Like the little devil on our shoulder saying, stay on the couch, you're fine.
Exactly. And it shows up in different ways. Procrastination, self-doubt, fear of failure.
So it's an internal barrier.
Yes. And it can be really powerful, especially when we're trying to make big changes.
So how do we overcome it? How do we break through?
That's the big question. A lot of people struggle with it.
Because it feels like you're fighting yourself.
Exactly. But I think the first step is acknowledging that resistance is normal.
So it's not a sign that we're failing.
No, it's natural. It's our mind trying to protect us from the unknown.
Like our brain's security system keeping us in our comfort zone.
Yes. So don't be ashamed of it, recognize it, and choose to move forward anyway.
So have the courage to step outside our comfort zones.
Even when it's uncomfortable, because that's where growth happens.
And trust that we can handle it.
That's where those affirmations come in handy.
They help us build our inner strength.
Yes. They can be a powerful tool for overcoming resistance.
Because they help us shift our focus from fear to possibilities.
Instead of dwelling on what might go wrong, you focus on what you want.
And the steps to get there.
Choose empowering beliefs over limiting ones.
And that changes everything.
It does. It lets you approach challenges with optimism.
Instead of fear.
You take control of your narrative. You choose to believe in yourself.
That's so empowering.
It is. You take ownership of your life and create the future you want.
And that's what we've been talking about.
Empowering ourselves, reaching our potential.
Making a positive impact.
It's a message that resonates deeply.
Me too. And it's especially relevant today.
With all the negativity around us.
It's more important than ever to cultivate inner strength.
To believe in ourselves and create a better future.
And it starts by recognizing the power we have to make a difference.
We all have the potential
To create positive change.
to inspire others.
And leave a legacy. And it all starts with believing in ourselves.
Taking action towards our dreams.
And remembering how precious life is.
Beautifully said. So we've covered a lot today.
We have the power of affirmations, overcoming resistance, living a fulfilling life.
And we even mentioned Angie's podcast.
Of course. Her website is https://angieselfdevelopmentandmotivationpodcast.buzzsprout.com.
For anyone who wants to go deeper.
So before we wrap up this part,
Yeah.
I want to leave our listeners with one thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
We've talked about believing in ourselves and taking action,
Right.
but we don't have to do it alone.
That's important.
We all need support and encouragement. And there are so many resources out there.
Books, podcasts, online groups.
Or even just a friend or mentor.
We don't have to figure it all out by ourselves.
So if you're feeling stuck, don't be afraid to reach out.
There's no shame in asking for help.
In fact, it's often the key to reaching our potential.
Because when people believe in us,
we start to believe in ourselves too.
and then we can achieve anything.
So let's go make our dreams happen. Together.
Yes, let's do it. And with that in mind, let's go back to those 9 statements from Denzel's video.
So much wisdom in those simple phrases.
It's true, they're like little nuggets you can really use.
And I like how they all connect together, like a whole system for personal growth.
Right. It's not just thinking positive, it's aligning your actions with those thoughts.
Like a guide for living better, more intentionally.
Exactly.
And it all starts with believing in yourself, that you're capable of great things.
That's the foundation. When you really internalize that, you start making different choices.
But it's not always easy, right?
Oh, absolutely not. There will be tough times, doubts creeping in.
And that's where the other statements come in.
They're like reminders along the way to keep you going.
They keep us on track.
Exactly, to embrace the hard work, to keep going even when it's tough, to ignore negativity.
And to remember that life is precious. To appreciate what we have.
To make the most of it.
We've talked about a lot, but it feels like we've only scratched the surface.
It's true. With self-improvement, there's always more to learn, more to discover.
That's what makes it so exciting, right?
Always a new challenge.
And we don't have to do it alone, right? There's help out there.
So many resources.
Friends, family, mentors, online groups.
People who've been there, ready to help.
So if you're feeling stuck, don't be afraid to ask for help.
It can make all the difference.
Because when people believe in us,
It's easier to believe in ourselves.
and then we can do amazing things.
So let's go make those dreams happen.
Absolutely. And for anyone who wants more support, I can't recommend Angie's podcast enough.
It's full of great tips and advice.
You can find it at https://angieselfdevelopmentandmotivationpodcast.buzzsprout.com.
It's a fantastic resource.
So remember, you are capable of amazing things.
Never forget that.
Don't underestimate your power to create change.
It's been great exploring these ideas with you.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
And thank you to all our listeners.
We'll see you next time.